If you're watching this, chances are you're either thinking about installing Wine on Linux Mint 22.3, or you've already heard about it and you're wondering whether it even matters in 2026. So today, I'm going to walk you through my full experience installing Wine on Linux Mint 22.3, why I decided to do it, what worked, what didn't, what surprised me, and most importantly, why this still matters in 2026 when so many people assume Linux should just run everything natively by now. Let me start with the reason I even cared. I've been using Linux Mint as my daily driver for years. Linux Mint 22.3 feels incredibly polished, stable, and beginner-friendly. It's built on a modern Ubuntu LTS base. The Cinnamon desktop is smooth, memory usage is efficient, and honestly, for web browsing, coding, video editing, and even gaming through Proton, it handles almost everything I need. But there's always that one thing, that one Windows application. For me, it was a specific productivity tool that only has a Windows version, no native Linux build, no proper web version. And running a full virtual machine just for one app felt heavy, wasteful, and unnecessary. That's where Wine comes in. Wine, which originally stood for Wine, is not an emulator. It's a compatibility layer that allows you to run Windows applications directly on Linux without emulating the entire Windows operating system. Instead of simulating hardware like a traditional virtual machine, Wine translates Windows system calls into POSIX calls on the fly. That means in many cases, you can get near native performance without the overhead of running Windows inside a VM. So I decided to install Wine on Linux Mint 22.3 in 2026 and see how far it has come. The first thing I did was update my system. Linux Mint 22.3 ships with a solid package manager and software sources. I opened the terminal, updated the package list, and upgraded everything to make sure there were no dependency conflicts. In 2026, system stability matters more than ever because modern Linux distributions have become extremely modular. A mismatched library can break compatibility layers like Wine, so starting clean is important. Then I checked whether Mint's official repositories had a recent version of Wine. They do provide Wine packages, but I wanted the latest stable release from the official Wine HQ repository because compatibility improves constantly. In 2026, Wine development hasn't T-slowed deep. If anything, it's accelerated due to the explosion of Linux gaming and cross-platform demand. So I added the official Wine HQ repository, imported the GPG key, updated the package lists again, and installed the stable branch. The installation itself was surprisingly smooth. Linux Mint handled the dependencies automatically, pulling in required 32-bit libraries alongside 64-bit support. This is important because many Windows applications, even in 2026, still rely on 32-bit components. After installation, I ran Winix for the first time. This creates the Wine prefix, which is essentially a fake Windows environment inside your home directory. It builds a directory structure that mimics a Windows installation, complete with a C drive, program files, system registry, and user folders. When the configuration window opened, I saw that Wine defaulted to a Windows 10 compatibility mode, even though Windows 11 is widespread in 2026. But here's the thing, most applications still target Windows 10 APIs, so that default makes sense. I then tested it by installing a simple Windows application. I downloaded the Xene Stager, right-clicked it, and selected Open with Wine Windows Program Loader. The installer launched just like it would on Windows, no virtual machine, no heavy resource usage, just a standard installer window. That moment alone highlights why Wine matters in 2026. It reduces friction. It allows Linux users to bridge gaps without abandoning their preferred operating system. Now let's talk about why this matters specifically in 2026. By now, Linux adoption has grown significantly, especially among developers, privacy-focused users, and gamers. Valve's continued investment in Linux through Proton has normalized running Windows games on Linux. The Steam Deck played a huge role in this shift. But beyond gaming, enterprise software still lags behind in native Linux support. Many proprietary tools, accounting software, legacy corporate apps, and niche utilities remain. If you are a Linux Mint user in 2026, chances are you chose Linux for stability, security, customization, or privacy. But the real world still runs on mixed ecosystems. Companies use Windows-only internal tools. Schools distribute Windows-based educational software. Hardware vendors release configuration utilities only for Windows. Wine becomes the bridge that allows Linux users to operate in a Windows-dominated ecosystem without fully switching. After installing my main application through Wine, I noticed performance was surprisingly good. Launch times were fast, CPU usage was minimal, RAM consumption was lower than running a Windows virtual machine. That's because Wine doesn't emulate hardware. It translates API calls directly. The overhead is much smaller. Of course, not everything is perfect. Some applications require additional libraries like Net Frameworks, Visual C++, plus redistribution. In 2026, tools like Winatrix and Bottles make this easier. Instead of manually configuring everything, you can install dependencies with simple commands or graphical interfaces. Bottles, especially, has matured into a powerful front end for managing Wine environments. It allows you to create isolated containers for different apps, each with its own configuration. That level of isolation improves stability and prevents conflicts. One thing that stood out to me is how stable Wine feels now compared to 5 or 10 years ago. Back then, running Windows software on Linux often felt experimental. You'd expect crashes, graphical glitches, or missing features. In 2026, many mainstream applications run almost flawlessly. That's a testament to decades of open source collaboration. Security is another reason this matters. Running Windows inside a virtual machine means maintaining a full Windows installation, complete with updates, antivirus, telemetry concerns, and licensing issues. With Wine, you're not running Windows itself. You're running a compatibility layer that reduces attack surface in many scenarios. It's not magic protection, but it's leaner. There's also a philosophical reason this matters. Linux has always been about freedom and choice. Installing Wine reinforces that philosophy. It says you don't have to be locked into one ecosystem. You can use Linux as your foundation and selectively run Windows applications only when necessary. You're in control. Performance-wise, I also tested a lightweight Windows game outside of Steam. It ran smoothly. Frame rates were comparable to native Windows benchmarks I'd seen online. This shows how much the graphics translation layers have improved. Vulkan support, DXVK integration, and ongoing improvements in Wine's DirectX translation stack make a massive difference. Another important factor in 2026 is hardware support. Linux Mint 22.3 supports modern CPUs and GPUs very well. Combined with updated Mesa drivers and kernel improvements, Wine benefits directly from the underlying system stability. That synergy is key. Wine alone isn't magic. It depends on the Linux stack beneath it. And right now, that stack is stronger than ever. For content creators, Wine can also be a lifesaver. Some niche Windows-only editing tools or plugins don't have Linux. Instead of dual booting or giving up your workflow, you can attempt running them under Wine. Sometimes it works perfectly, sometimes partially, but having the option matters. Now, let's address the criticism. Some people argue that by using Wine, we're encouraging developers not to port their apps to Linux. I understand that perspective. Native support is always better. But realistically, market share still influences development priorities. Wine doesn't replace the need for native apps. It fills the gap while the ecosystem evolves. Another criticism is complexity. For absolute beginners, Wine can still feel intimidating. There are prefixes, environment variables, DLL, overrides, architecture differences, but compared to earlier years, graphical tools have simplified much of this. Linux Mint's user-friendly approach also helps. You're not dealing with a bleeding-edge rolling release distro. You're on a stable LTS-based system. One subtle but important reason Wine matters in 2026 is longevity. Think about legacy software. There are Windows XPR applications that businesses still rely on. Instead of keeping outdated Windows machines alive, organizations can migrate to Linux and run those legacy apps through Wine. That extends hardware life and improves security. During my testing, I also experimented with different Wine versions. The stable branch is recommended for most users, but staging versions include experimental patches. In some cases, staging improve compatibility for certain apps. Having that flexibility is powerful. The installation process overall took maybe 15 to 20 minutes, including repository setup. That's nothing compared to installing and configuring a full Windows VM, allocating disk space, installing updates, and managing licenses. time efficiency matters. By the end of this experiment, my Linux Mint 22.3 system felt more complete. It felt like I had access to both Linux native applications and a significant portion of the Windows ecosystem without sacrificing performance or philosophy. In 2026, computing is increasingly hybrid. People use web apps, native apps, containerized apps, cloud services, and cross-platform tools all at once. Wine fits into that hybrid world. It's not about replacing Windows. It's about interoperability. If you're considering installing Wine on Linux Mint 22.3 today, I'd say it's absolutely worth trying. The barrier to entry is low. The potential upside is huge. Worst case, an app doesn't work and you remove it. Best case, you unlock software you thought was inaccessible. So why does it matter in 2026? Because Linux adoption is growing, but Windows exclusivity hasn't disappeared. Because performance and compatibility have matured enough to make Wine practical, not experimental. Because user freedom is more relevant than ever. And because the future of computing isn't about one operating system winning. It's about coexistence. Installing Wine on Linux Mint 22.3 isn't just about running a Windows program. It's about expanding what your system can do. It's about flexibility. It's about refusing to choose between ecosystems. And in 2026, that flexibility might be the most valuable feature of all.